I've got a large collection of arcade games. I wonder how much it would cost to complete all of them if it was a real arcade. Only one way to find out. The future. It has countless depictions. A brighter, cleaner world, a depressing, dystopian world, or just a flat-out dead world. No one can truly 100% correctly predict just how the future will shape out, but that doesn't mean we can't use our imagination about it. I have another question for you. What do you get when you take Chase HQ, add some Judge Dredd, and a cup of campy 90s cartoons? The result is today's game, AB Cop. AB Cop, full title Air Bike Cop, is a game similar to Chase HQ, where you must chase after the baddies and ram them off the road until they're nothing but a mess of metal and meat. Though the text choice kinda makes it look like baby's first police book. Unlike Chase HQ though, this game is a lot better in every way, though it does suffer from the same issues at times. It follows the same level structure as well. A bad guy doing bad things, use extreme force to take down the boss. The big difference being is that it also has a set number of henchmen you need to take down before the boss spawns. And the best part? You get to do all of this without Nancy. And fuck you, Nancy! The plot is as simple as it gets. You're a copper, and every level is a problem you need to deal with. Level 1 starts simple enough. Boris the skinhead and his cutthroats have robbed a bank and are attempting to escape. You are launched out of a tunnel and give chase. So when it comes to the controls, the cabinet would have had a bike handle instead of the button stick scheme. Having never actually used the machine myself, I can't comment on how difficult the controls were, but I can tell you what your controls actually do. They are super simplistic. You can make it accelerate, use brakes, steer left or right, use a never-ending speed boost and a jump, but only if you've got at least one J available. The bike itself handles pretty well too. It's responsive and effectively moves across the road, unlike some vehicles. The HUD is also a simplistic, easy to read layout. Here's a number of victims, thugs you need to arrest, definitely not kill, how much time you have left, current speed, a constantly increasing score, and the boss's life bar when they appear. The goal of each level is to defeat a set number of thugs while avoiding the obstacles, then defeat the big boss and move on. On level 1, simple enough. You have 5 thugs to take down. To do so, you need to ram into them until they explode, presumably leaving their battered and mangled body on the ground. I'm sure my colleagues will see to him. No! Once you defeat them all, the boss appears. Just like the goons, you need to ram into them to damage them. However, the boss can attack back with both ranged and physical attacks. You don't have a life bar, so you don't have to worry about death. But every time you collide with something, even when you're hitting the enemy, you slow down or spin out of control, and even just one collision could cost you the time you need to beat the level. Level 1, however, is pretty forgiving with the number of errors you can make, and works well as a good introduction to the game and finishes with a smile. With Boris behind bars, the next logical plot point is to chase down mutants, of course. The game claims that a biomutant has escaped, yet there's also its children, siblings, that you'll need to kill as well. Oh, sorry, bring in alive. Okay, I'll bring them in alive, but I can't promise they'll be healthy. The visuals take a sharp boost in this level. The graphics are really well crafted and a good amount of effort has gone into them. The draw distance is far, the road is clearly defined by the positioning of the ever-changing environment, and the environments themselves are well drawn and a nice treat to view at times. Sometimes they do look a little dark, but with them being so crisp and clear, you won't ever crash into something because you couldn't see it. The movement animation could use a little work, but having said that, the explosions look decent enough and the spinning crash looks great. The changing backgrounds and visual effects also add to the immersion of the game. You do get the impression that you're racing across a city or a natural landscape. The little details like water and dust kicking up as you fly over them, and the illusion of depth made when you do a boost jump effectively give life to the world. The difficulty takes a small but noticeable climb here too. The thugs now take more than one hit to take down, and it's easier to outrun them. If you do happen to do this, you need to slow down to try again. What's irritating about being able to do this though is not only does it cost you time, but being able to outrun them is also inconsistent. Have you ever played a racing game where there's a boost feature, yet the boost does sweet fuck all, and your opponents are still just as fast as you even though they aren't boosting? Well, that issue is here too, but sometimes it happens and other times it doesn't. It's even worse when it does happen and they seem to be invincible when it happens, costing you valuable seconds because the game can't figure out you just tried to hit a guy. If you do run out of time, you get a 10 count game over. As the timer goes down, you're treated to this very shocked and very ugly looking face mural. If you continue, you hulk up, you get some less but still creepy faces, get extra time, and the level resets. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I think this is a way that the game developers are trying to milk your wallet. How easy would it be to give players a timer that's too short to win with and make them an offer of better chances and more time in return for money? I could be wrong, but trust in me? This time I did it a lot faster, but when I got to the boss, things got a little more suspicious. All the bosses attack in the same way, hit you when they get close and rapid firing beam attacks when far. You can jump over the attacks to land one of your own, which does more damage if you manage to connect with it. But the hit detection is off. Watch here where I land a jumping strike, then land 2 hits quickly, but the third doesn't register. This issue was present with the first boss too, and is yet another issue that can cost you fatal seconds and lead to a game over. It's not game breaking, but it is a piss take when it happens. What is a bigger piss take though, is if you game over on a boss, they offer you an insultingly low amount of bonus time. A single digit? I've got a single digit for you. 4 attempts later, and I finally did it. Fuck you, you free-eyed fuck nugget. Level 3, the Shogun Death Dealer is selling cocaine. Or white powder, as this game is portraying it. When I said this game was part 90s cartoon campy, I meant it. I'm not faulting it for that though. It's a product of its time and it gives the game a charm and personality. I like how even the cop looks like a child-friendly version of Judge Dredd. I am the law, kids. Pretty cramped on this level. Trees, torches and trucks will constantly be in your way, but they aren't hard to avoid, so they won't be the biggest problem. What I do like about this level is just how chill the music is despite the action that's going on. The game's music is okay. It's simplistic, but it's not bad. There's a lot of simpleness in this game now that I realise that all my vocabulary is just shit. The music is what you're going to hear most as you play this game, as the sound effects are just limited to your bike whistling, collisions, and a singular death scream. The tunes you could compare to nice jingles for the most part, but in some levels the music feels off. By which I mean it doesn't work with the imagery, at least to me. Have a listen and let me know what you think. To me, this music playing feels more like something you would hear in a summer sports game or maybe a game like Outrun. To me, it doesn't feel impactful enough. It doesn't portray a sense of emergency or danger. Makes it feel like crippling ninjas is just another casual day for AB Cop. This isn't the case all the time though for the music. The tracks during the bosses more accurately set the tone. This level's boss only took me 2 tries to defeat, but I have no idea what I did differently. He attacks just like the last 2 did. I feel like he might attack slower, but it's more likely I got lucky with the faulty hit detection. And I'm certain taking an air bike to the face didn't help him either. Level 4, the killer clown has kidnapped hot babes and you need to stop him. Because hot babes. This level's more cramped than the last one, making you feel claustrophobic. But it doesn't last long though, as it opens up a little when you enter the elephant graveyard from the Lion King, until it widens out even more to where you fight the boss, who in this case breaks the mold a little bit. Whereas the bosses before attacked with a single beam attack and a wider beam attack when it got to the Shogun, this one attacks all the way across the road. I like that this boss acts differently to the rest, but he's obviously there to try and milk money out of you. The balls he launches obscure your view, and chain crashes are very likely to happen here, and because of that, I failed twice. It's not really cheap. With some careful steering you could weave between them all, and you can jump over them, but they're still so dense you're going to get hit eventually, even if you're just recovering from colliding with the boss. Despite these problems, I beat him on my third try, but how? Honestly, this fluctuating difficulty of bosses is just getting on my nerves a little bit. Watch this. This is my second attempt at killing him with no cuts. Now here's my third attempt with no cuts. What did I do differently? I stayed on him, but the last time I did that I just kept being knocked back, and then this time he just seemed to stop throwing balls. Honestly, what did I do differently? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? We may never know. Level 5. Cyber bandits have stolen a doomsday weapon and have made the second confirmed kill of the game. Ooh, nighttime level. Very fancy. The level design is pretty basic, but again, I'm not faulting it for that. They serve the purpose and they alter enough to keep your attention. They do feel similar in design, and after the first level, the game relies on the same trick of just putting more things in your way to try and make you crash more often. But it would be nice to have some actual variety in the levels themselves, rather than just backgrounds to make it look different. Perhaps a surface that slows you down if you touch it, so you need to hit a ramp to avoid it. Perhaps a temporary hazard that's best to avoid rather than attack. Or maybe even a vehicle change or bosses that act differently. Oh, and by the way, guess what? I beat the boss first try, and you guessed it, still no idea how. The Gundam attacks slower, like the Shogun did, but it seemed to stop doing its ranged attacks randomly again, and just took all my smacks like a bitch. I don't know if this is an error or whether or not this is some sort of difficulty changer, but it is just annoying me how something can be very difficult the first time and then suddenly easier the second or third time with no reasonable explanation. The final level. All the criminals have escaped and you need to capture them all again. Perhaps we shouldn't have locked him up with his power suit still on. This final level is the most lazily designed of all the levels in the game. It's just a tunnel that has no hazards at all on it. No cars, no boulders, no thin roads. It's just one wide road for you to take on a gauntlet of bosses with reduced health. You need to rely on your jump boots to beat them, otherwise your time's going to run out. As you can expect, you need to beat all the bosses in the order that you caught them. Boris, the Mutant, Shogun, Kinky Whip Clown, and finally the Gundam. Wait a minute. The level's still going? And the timer reset? Who's left? Little green men? What? These guys are twats. It only attacks by using a ranged attack, alien conga lines that block your view, making it hard to see when the next attack is coming. They also bounce you around a lot, and because of all these conga lines, you can't see where the Council of Cunts actually are. If you try and ram them, you're instantly knocked away, and they speed up so they're out of range. You need to rely on jumps to reach them, but they aren't always guaranteed to work, all too often resulting in the boss needing only one more hit to die, and you run out of time because you ran out of jumps. You can collect more from the side of the road, but they take forever to appear, and at times they don't appear at all. God, this is fucking bullshit. I know I said I wanted some variety to the tactics of the bosses, and a boss that can only be hit by jumping is a good start, but the execution is fuck awful. The over-aggressive attacks that trap you in the damage loop, the faulty hit detection, and the unfairly low chance of the pickups you need to hit the boss with actually spawning ruin the idea. And I get it, it's an arcade game. They're designed to cheat to get more money out of you. But when its cheating is so obvious and unapologetic, it's insulting and needs to be called out. Call me old-fashioned if you want, but I just personally think that more people are likely to play your games again if you give them a fair challenge and you show respect to the people who play them, not just make something difficult for the sake of it and see your customers as nothing more than piggy banks. It took me 5 attempts to beat this boss, and I beat him with a fluke. Damn it, I've only got one jump left and it's not going to do enough damage to the boss to kill him. Well, best let the timer run out so I can try again. Wait, how did that work? Every other time I've tried to ram him it didn't work, but this one time it did? Why? Oh, God. I know this isn't necessarily a game-ruining issue, but it is annoying, and it is making my attempts to enjoy the game just that little bit harder. Especially when a lot of the bosses I've won aren't really satisfying because they've been done by a fluke rather than actually using a mechanic which is functioning properly. With the little green cunts defeated, the ending sequence plays. You get a thumbs up from the cop, he stares at the sun and then rides away. Riveting. Are you going to tell us where the aliens came from? No? I didn't think so. Fuck it, let's make up our own story. They were an alien dance troupe that came to Earth as part of a prisoner rehabilitation program, so that the criminals we caught can change their ways and start a better life using the form of dance. Does that sound like a stupid story? Well, at least I can back it up. Told you. AB Cop is a fun but flawed game. Its visuals successfully generate enough immersion to make you feel involved, and the bike handles so well it feels great to drive through the levels at high speed. However, its boss's inconsistent difficulty, from the same boss being annoyingly hard to piss weak, and then being screwed over by crappily programmed mechanics, does throw you off the experience a bit, and the final boss being a complete fuck you to the player quickly becomes tedious while you're trying to fight it. The levels are also quite short. Each level could be finished in between 1.5–3 minutes, but that doesn't mean that there's no fun to be had here. I'd say give this one a go. You're going to get some enjoyment out of it, but prepared to take on an equal amount of frustration too. And that was AB Cop. Thanks for watching everyone. Join us next time where we'll be making the dinosaurs extinct. Again.